The Loretta Young Show.
Most men believe that most women are very complicated creatures. And I must say there are times when I couldn't agree with them more. And right now, to a misty day on the beach.
Sylvia, I found the blue one. What? Blue. Sapphire blue.
Woo! Say, that's perfect. Gem quality. From a milk and magnesia bottle, no doubt.
No doubt. Oh, I love misty days like this. Sort of fits my mood.
Yeah.
You're an angel to put up with me for a few days.
Oh, Pooh, I love it. And that goes for Don and the kids, too.
There's something about it, I don't know. Sea, the sand, your house, your garden.
My garden.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid it didn't do very well this year. I noticed your pink resurrection lilies didn't come up.
My Lycoris squamigera.
Oh, fancy name.
And why not? $25 a bulb. Mm-hmm.
Don told me he thought they were winter kills.
Yes, I know.
And that he told you that you should have taken the bulbs up at the end of the summer before you went back to town.
Yes, he did. And he's been saying I told you so ever since. Yeah, well, husbands do that, you know.
Yes. Jimmy might be like that, too. Yet I can't help feeling I ought to tell him about it.
You really think so?
You don't agree, do you?
Well, I think it was your mistake, and I don't see why you should burden Jimmy with it.
Well, Jimmy and I have always been so close. You know, we tell each other everything.
Really? Does anyone really? Aren't there certain things that are just one's own that you couldn't possibly share and shouldn't, perhaps?
I feel so guilty.
Well, it's your guilt, you know, honey, not his. And anyway, it's all over. Well, it is over.
Fini.
Well, then what purpose would it serve to tell him?
Just feel that I was being honest.
Are you sure that's your reason? You know, we women are very strange creatures sometimes. We like to kind of stir up a little jealousy just to prove to our husbands that we're still attractive. We do that, you know. And then what's the result? We only succeed in planting seeds of discontent, distrust, and unhappiness.
Sure, you can talk. You've always been beyond reproach. A model wife.
Oh, my dear friend, no one is beyond reproach. And no one is beyond temptation, believe me.
What do you mean?
Well, last fall, I came down here alone, you know. Don and I had a little fight. Nothing serious, you know, just a marriage argument. Anyway, I felt that we needed a vacation from each other, and I needed a vacation from the children. In fact, if I could have stepped out of my skin and taken a vacation for myself, I would have been grateful.
I know that feeling so well.
But failing that, a change of place had to do. So I took that awful afternoon train, and, you know, the one that stops at every single station, and sometimes in between, and no one knows why.
Anyway, by the time I got here, it was dark. I remember standing on the porch watching the taxi drive away as I searched in my bag for the door key. I was conscious of the sound of the ocean. It seemed to smooth my feelings almost at once. It was very lonely, and I loved the loneliness.
But when I finally did get hold of my key and open the door, I reached for the light switch in a hurry. And then I pressed the switch and nothing happened. No lights. Well, I give you my word that what I felt at that moment amounted to panic. Real panic. And I couldn't imagine why. I hurried to the lamp on the bar and tried that, but it didn't light either. But I had this unreasonable feeling that something malevolent was at work. That feeling, you know, that someone, something, worse than a human being, was waiting for me in the darkness. Perhaps very close. My first impulse was to grope for the phone and call our handyman, Charlie Berry. But of course, the phone had been shut off for the winter. Well, by this time, I could feel my scalp creeping. I went on into the kitchen by sheer determination. And then I couldn't find the flashlight we always keep on the windowsill. I put the matches in a canister where the mice couldn't get at them. I couldn't remember which canister. But the racket I made clattering around with the canisters, snatching off metal lids and dropping them, only frightened me more. When I finally got hold of the matches, I couldn't find a candle. And by then, I was really beginning to gibber. There were no fuses in the utility box. Not one fuse. But luckily, on the back porch, we had 2 kerosene lamps left over from one of the hurricanes. And they were still half full. Once I got those lighted, I felt better. And in no time, I was fine again. You know, peaceful. Nobody calling me, nobody asking me anything, or telling me anything. I decided after a while I would open a can of soup, and that would be my supper. And then I went back to the living room and lit the old ship's lamp. Closed the front door, and then I began walking around looking at everything. The children's summer toys. The odds and ends of summer trinkets like bits of glass, shells. They all seemed, I don't know, touching, I guess is the word. I had the feeling that a great time had elapsed. As if I were an old, old woman, far from my life with children, instead of at the very center of it. And then I noticed an old sweater of Donald's hanging by the front door. Even it seemed touching. It made me feel that our quarrel was nothing. If the telephone had been connected, I would have called him and told him so. Life, just because of these reminders, these empty reminders of summer, suddenly seems so little, so fragile. Something to be handled so tenderly. It was all so peaceful, but I must confess, I locked the back door and the front door and my own bedroom door as well. I brought the kitchen clock with me, but it had such a brutal tick, almost a stamp, that I finally smothered it in a drawer with Donald's summer shirts. Before I got into bed, I opened one window and unfastened the shutters. I looked out the window and down at my garden that had stopped blooming, and just stood there, taking it all in. The moon was dead full, and only a few stars were strong enough to shine against it. I could see the Burnside farm lights far away across the fields. The only lights I saw. The wind had died down, and the sea had that sound like breathing. Not chopped and blurry, not a roar, but that spaced, matched, perfect sound of breathing.
I felt simply wonderful. I don't know what time it was when I woke up. I could hear the clock struggling away in the bosom of the bureau drawer, but I didn't get up and take it out. For some reason, I didn't feel like making any noise. Something had awakened me. I knew that. And then as I lay waiting, I heard it again. A stirring about outside, a crunching among the dry weeds. Then I heard someone sigh. Honestly, it was just as if someone had pressed a button. That first fear, the fear of the dark house, sprang up in me all over again. Somehow, I managed to get over to the window and look out. There, in the moonlight, in my garden, there was somebody. A man. I couldn't see what he was doing. He seemed to be just standing there. I was so terrified that the darkness began to sparkle all around me and my ears sang. I simply could not stand still and endure the fear. If I had been watching a murderer, I would have to have called out to him and tell him to kill me quickly. Any action would have been better than that terrible suspense, that awful suspense. I stayed there at the window, I don't know how long, paralyzed with fright, determined to cry out to whomever or whatever was waiting out there in my garden. But my throat got so dry. At last, I was able to call.
Who's there?
Whitney.
Whitney?
Yes. Whitney Parmenter, your neighbor.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Whitney. Why, you scared me half to death.
Terribly sorry. But what are you doing out here this time of the year?
Oh, well, I just decided to give Donald a vacation from me for a bit.
Oh. Oh, then you're alone.
But yes, of course. What are you doing out there this time of night?
Well, I couldn't sleep. I have insomnia lately.
Oh.
And it helps me to go out for a walk. Often I walk over here.
Oh, I see. Well, I hope you're dressed warmly, because it's very chilly.
Oh, yes, it is, and I mustn't keep you with that open window. I'm rather cold myself.
Oh, well, in that case, would you like to come in for a minute and get warmed up before you walk all the way back home?
Sounds fine.
Okay. I'll be right down to open the front door for you. Just a minute.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
Come on in.
Thank you.
Donald overlooked a bottle of scotch. Would you like me to get you a drink?
Fine.
Good.
No lights.
No, we blew a fuse. No extra ones. But this lamp is practical. Got a match?
Yeah. Here you are.
Thanks.
Oh, the lamplight's becoming to you.
Oh, thank you. Say, what happened to you, for heaven's sake?
Oh, I fell. Coming across the Burnside's potato field.
No.
Caught my foot in a chuck hole and went down on both knees as if I were praying.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry I'm so messy.
Oh, that's all right. I don't mind. Well, you want it on the rocks?
Oh, that'll be fine.
Oh, I forgot. No ice. Will water do?
Fine. Say, you want me to go out and have a look at the fuse box?
No, don't bother. I rather like these kerosene lamps. It makes me feel like roughing it, you know?
Yes.
How have you been, Whitney?
Fine, thank you.
Well, that's nice. Come on, sit down.
Thank you.
Oh, bring that lamp with you, will you?
Yes.
Sit down and give me all the beach gossip.
Well, summer people, of course, long since gone.
Mm-hmm.
Houses all boarded up.
Oh.
Just me and the natives left.
Okay, then the native gossip.
I'm not in on that. They still consider me an outsider.
Oh.
delightful. After all, I've only lived here for 23 years.
Yes.
It's funny when you think of it. Haven't lived here long enough to be accepted by the natives. Just because I stay here all year round, the summer people don't figure I'm one of them either.
Oh, come now. I'd say you were pretty much in demand, Whitney.
Well, why not? The only single man in miles. I come in handy if they happen to have an extra woman visiting.
You know, Whitney, it's absolutely none of my business, and you can tell me to shut up if you want to, but I've often wondered, why is it you've never married?
Maybe I'm too lazy.
Oh, too lazy to find a wife or to keep her?
Oh, I don't know. You see, the folks left me the house and some money. Not much, really, but enough if I'm careful. But a wife and children? Ugh, I'd have to get a job.
I never figured you as lazy. All the time you spend in your garden, that's work. Believe me, I know the hours that I've slaved away in my own garden.
Well, I like flowers, and that garden was my mother's greatest pride and joy. I keep it up for her as a memorial.
Well, of course, I can understand that.
I wasn't raised to earn a living. Oh, of course, my family sent me to the best schools, where I learned enough to be an interesting partner at the dinner table.
That's for sure.
I was taught to talk nicely, to fill up the pauses with educated platitudes. You know, I can't admire what Dolly paints, but he certainly is a marvelous technician. That sort of thing.
You know, I remember hearing you say that at Muriel's house one night. I thought you were kidding.
Maybe I'm just a misfit.
Now, how so?
Oh, don't you think so? A rich ne'er-do-well that's poor? Now, isn't that a misfit?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, it's late. I mustn't make you suffer because I have insomnia.
And you're right, it is late. Well...
If you're still around tomorrow, I'll drop in with a couple of fuses.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice. Say, you did take a nasty spill, didn't you?
Yes. Well, I hope I haven't tracked in any dirt.
Oh, that's all right.
Well,
don't worry.
Thanks for the drink.
Yeah. Whitney, what were you doing going through my garden? I mean, where were you going?
Don't you know why I cut through your garden? Can't you guess why I cross the fields at night to stand before your house?
Well, honestly, Jenny, it surprised me so, and shocked me, too, that I kissed him back. Well, I mean it. It seemed kind of rude not to. And then I stammered something awful like, we mustn't. And then I gently pushed him away, and he let go of me at once. Almost, I thought, with relief. Well, I can't tell you how I felt. Embarrassed. Flattered, maybe, but uncomfortable above all. I don't know what I said then. I think I thanked him. And then I think I touched his shoulder, and then he was gone. And I closed the door and bolted it. I decided that I'd go home the next day because I thought he might come back and be difficult. But I didn't need to worry because I never did see him again. You know, strangely enough, as the winter went by, I used to think about that night now and then. I'd laugh to myself. But also I redesigned Whitney in my mind a little bit so that I felt rather pleased and flattered, too. And when I heard in May that he'd died of a stroke, I really felt the twinge of regret, a real twinge.
Whitney Parmenter. Oh, boy, I can't get over it. Well, I always thought he was strange and stingy. Remember how he used to go to everything and never entertain himself?
Oh, he entertained once. He gave a cocktail party. I remember he served rum cocktails, and he ran out.
Sylvia, what about that night last fall? Did you ever tell Don what happened?
Well, I started to several times, but seemed pointless. There's nothing to tell, really.
Nothing to tell. Whitney worshipped at your shrine. Came at night to stand in front of your empty, boarded-up house. I think you should have told
Now,
on.
just hold on a minute. I haven't finished my story.
Oh.
No. This summer, when we first arrived here, we heard that Whitney's house was up for sale, and Don wanted to see it because one of the men in his office was looking for a place down here. So, I went along on an impulse of curiosity, and yes, I'll admit a slight feeling of sentiment.
Nice house.
Yes.
Yep, I think Fred will like it. I want to take a look at his famous garden. He spent most of his time there, I understand. Hey, Syl, come here. I want to show you something. How about that? Whitney had pink resurrection lilies just like yours. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
You know, I had the impression that he was sort of a tightwad, but lilies at $25 a bulb. Well, I guess nothing was too good for his garden. You know, it's funny, the frost didn't kill his. Well, I'm going to take a look out back.
Then it dawned on me. I stood there staring at the flowers. At my flowers. I knew that they were mine, and that that's what Whitney was doing in my garden that night. He was digging up my resurrection lily bulbs. There they bloomed in splendid health, nodding and prancing in the sunny air. Oh, believe me, if flowers could have laughed, those flowers were laughing at me. And then even I started to laugh.
Because the joke was on me.
Oh, Sylvia, how could you know the lily bulbs were yours?
Oh, I knew all right. It was as clear as day. Everything pointed to it. The dirt on Whitney's trouser knees, the sagging pockets of his jackets, which held my lily bulbs, the stealth. Oh, no, there was absolutely no doubt about it.
Well, so his amorous confession of attachment and the kiss was simply...
Exactly. To cover up his crime, he pretended to be madly in love with me. And I, fool that I was female enough to believe him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. You go right ahead and laugh. It's on me, all right. I make you a present of it.
Oh, you are the one.
Yes. But now the real point. Supposing I had told Don. I not only would have shown myself up for the vain creature that I was, but I would have hurt him very much. And all so unnecessarily.
Yes. You mean as unnecessary as my telling Jimmy about my foolishness?
Yes. Oh, Janie, think twice before you burden your husband with unnecessary worries over which he has no control and he can't do anything about anyway. Huh? Come on, we better get back. Oh, dear. I gotta fix dinner. Don and the kids are probably starved by now.
I'll bet you'll never look at pink lilies again as long as you...
Not without blushing.
Here's Miss Young.
Thank you, John. No one can make a fool out of you without considerable cooperation on your part. Well, good night. And we'll see you next week.
Be with us again next week. Same time, same station.